Okay, so we have 1 out of 2, or a half, is equal to something out of 4. So we're trying to find an equivalent fraction.
2 out of 4?
Yeah, how did you get 2?
Because that's like the even number for
Well,
4.
we want to see how we get from here to here. So 2 times 2 is 4, right? If you multiply the denominator, which is the bottom part of the fraction, by 2, then you have to multiply the numerator, so the top part, also by 2 to keep it equivalent, okay? So 1 times 2 is 2.
2.
Okay, so half is equal to 2/4. And if I draw this, I just want you to look here for a sec. So here's a circle. If I color in half, okay, so I'm going to color in half.
Okay.
So I've colored in 1 out of 2 parts. But if I break this up into 4 parts, because this is out of 4,
It'd be 4 out of 2.
It's
2 out of 4.
2 out of 4, exactly. It's 2 out of 4, which is the same as 1 out of 2.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So the next one says that 2 out of 4 is equal to something out of 8. So if it's cut into 8 parts. So let's do it this way first. 4 times what is 8?
3.
4 times
2.
2, right? Because 4 plus 4 is 8. So if I multiply this by 2, what do I have to do here?
Same thing.
Yep, so multiply it by 2. What's 2 times 2?
It'd be 4.
4. Okay, so it would be 4 out of 8. And let's look at the diagram. Okay, so I'm gonna divide this into 8 parts out of 8, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 out of 8, which is the same thing
So it's like
as
a half.
a half, exactly.
Okay.
Good. Okay, so 4 out of 8 is equal to something out of 16. So once again, 8 times 2 is 16, because we're doubling it.
Times
So
2
I'm going
again.
to do times 2 again, and 4 times 2 is
8.
8. Okay, so that would be 8 out of 16. And then we can do the last one, which is
1 out of 8 then equals to 16.
equals something out of 16. So this time if I have 1 out of 8, well, we know how we get from here to here, because it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So 8 times 2 is 16.
So it'd be 1 times.
1 times 2 is
2.
2. Good. Now, this question just says reduce the fractions. That means make the numbers smaller.
Okay.
Okay, so we need to figure out what 8 and 16 can be divided by evenly. So 8 is divisible by, they're both even numbers, so what can they be divided
3.
by?
Was it
Well, 2 is
2.
an even number. Okay, so what's 8 divided by 2? Would be 4.
Okay.
And then half of 16, or 16 divided by 2, would be
8.
8. So if I divide the numerator and the denominator by the same number, then I'll get an equivalent fraction, right? But I can actually keep going here. I can reduce it even further, because this is still an even number, so I can still divide this by 2.
Okay.
So what's 4 divided by 2? That would be 2. And then 8 divided by 2 is 4.
Okay.
Okay, can I keep going, or is that
No.
still an even number?
Yeah, it's an even number. I don't think you
So
go
can you divide it by 2 again?
Yeah.
You can. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2.
Okay.
So these are all equal to one another. A half, 2 fourths, 4 eighths, and 8 over 16.
Okay.
Okay, so something. So this was, the question said to reduce to lowest terms. We started with 8 out of 16. If I used mental math, I can figure out that 8 I can divide by 8, and 16 is also divisible by 8. Okay, 8 goes into 8 once, and 8 goes into 16 twice. So that would have been a
lowest.
shortcut,
Okay.
right? It's the lowest term. 16. Okay, so for this one, again, we have to put in lowest terms. Well, what's 2? I can only divide this by 2,
2.
right? So which means I have to divide
Divide
this
by
by
2.
2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 16 divided by 2 is 8.
So
And that's the lowest I
that's
can
the
go.
lowest. Okay.
If you see a 1 as your numerator, you can't go any lower.
Okay. So
Okay.
4 divided by,
Yeah, 4 out of 16.
So it's 2 again.
Yeah, we can start with 2 again, because we know they're both even numbers. Divided by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 16 divided by 2 is 8. I can keep going, because I have a 2 here. And they're both even numbers. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4.
4.
So
So
1
that's
over
the
4 is the lowest, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, because both of these are divisible by 4.
Okay.
So 12 divided by 4 is 3, and 16 divided by 4 is 4, and that's
But you s-
actually the lowest.
Okay.
Yeah, that's as low as we can go, because there's nothing else that I can divide both of these by that's the same number.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Okay. Again, we can
Two.
if it's an even number,
Or
we can
5.
divide by 2.
Okay.
Well, this 10 is divisible by 5, but 16 isn't, and it
Okay.
has to be divided by the same number. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. 16 divided by 2 is 8, so 5 out of 8 for this one.
Oh.
For 10 out of 16 is 5 out of 8. Okay, 6 out of 16 again.
2.
Divided by 2, divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 16 divided by 2 is 8, so it'd be 3 out of 8. Okay, so 3 out of 4 is equal to something out of 8. Good. This was multiplied by 2, which means we have to multiply this by 2. 3 times 2 is 6, so it'd be 6 out of 8.